It's Friday, the 19th of March, 2021. Good evening to our viewers here in Kenya and around the world. I hope you had yourself a fantastic day. Welcome to a comprehensive coverage of all-day events happening here in Kenya and around the world. Today was the day of fast while Tanzania was swearing in the first female president. In Ukambani, we also witnessed a first female senator also winning the senatorial seat in Machakos County. Also in the country, the first time Kenya is recording a high number of COVID-19 related deaths. 28 persons succumbed to coronavirus in the last 24 hours. Indeed, this number is the highest since Kenya reported the first case of the infections in March last year. Are you taking care of yourselves? Let's just do what we can. And of course, we will be bringing you the latest update on COVID-19 here in Kenya. Let's begin with the highlights.
Today, 28 patients have lost their lives to this disease. It's not just the highest this year, but is also the highest we have recorded since the virus was first reported in Kenya.
The numbers are now shocking. Kenya confirms 28 deaths from coronavirus, the highest ever, as 1,354 new cases are reported in the last 24 hours.
Nitailinda na kuitetea Katiba ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania kwa mujibu wa sheria iliyowekwa. Mwenyezi Mungu nisaidie.
It is a new dawn in Tanzania. Samia Hassan Suluhu is sworn in as the first female president of the country after the death of the late John Pombe Magufuli.
Exams are starting on Monday. The government is fully prepared. It is all systems go.
And all is now set as Class 8 candidates prepare to sit for their exams beginning Monday. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Purity Museo and Lucy Mwaura is our sign language interpreter. Tonight at Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News. Tell us where you tuned in from. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. You can interact with us on Twitter as well. Let's kick off this broadcast. 28 people have been confirmed dead from the coronavirus in the last 24 hours, the highest number to be recorded since Kenya reported its first case a year ago. Kenya's death toll now stands at 1,982 on a day. That 1,354 new cases were confirmed from 7,732 samples screened. The Minister of Health is now sounding a warning that all is not well and every Kenyan must play their part if the country is to tame the invisible enemy.
The figures are now scary, with the country recording 28 deaths from coronavirus in the last 24 hours. The numbers troubling the Minister of Health that Kenyans were relapsing to the old good days, forgetting that the world is battling an invisible enemy, tearing through every corner of the globe.
Friends, today 28 patients have lost their lives to this disease, an increase of 11 from the number given yesterday when we had 17 deaths. Today's number is not just the highest this year, but is also the highest we have recorded since the virus was first reported in Kenya over a year ago.
The Minister of Health is cautioning Kenyans to strictly adhere to health guidelines, warning that the highest number of deaths and 17.5% positivity rate recorded on Friday is a clear indication that things were not okay.
Since we have warned the country that we are already in a third wave, this is a time to return to the basics. And we all remember the basics of this response against COVID-19. We need to strictly adhere to our containment measures.
In the last 24 hours, 1,354 new cases were confirmed from 7,732 samples tested in a similar period. Nairobi County is leading with 711 new cases, followed by Nakuru with 174 cases. And Kiambu 100 cases to complete the top three. The ministry is also urging those eager to take the vaccine to be patient, as phase 2 that targets those above 60 years will kick off very soon.
In view of the third wave and the almost 2/3 of deaths that are currently being witnessed in those who are elderly and vulnerable, particularly those over 60 years of age, the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Mutahi Kagwe, has directed that we alter our priority list to cover this very important cadre in our society. Therefore, this distinguished group of people in our society will be vaccinated when we receive the next consignment of vaccines in April.
Timothy Kipnusu, Channel 1 News.
Staying with the COVID update, Meru County Governor Kiraitu Murungi is self-isolating after testing positive for COVID-19. Meanwhile, traffic police officers manning roadblocks across the country have been put on notice for flouting COVID-19 prevention guidelines.
Meru County has not been spared by the third wave of COVID-19, with over 370 cases recorded from January this year to date. Meru LCEC Mishek Mutuma says Governor Kiraitu Murungi is among those infected and is in self-isolation on the advice of doctors.
Governor, His Excellency Kiraitu Murungi, has also tested positive. And we thank God because he's quite okay. He's doing quite well, and all the Meru people, that this wave now is very strong. It is here with us, and I want to advise all the people of Meru to take all the precautionary measures.
Meanwhile, Mandera County government is mourning Finance CEC Ibrahim Barrow, who succumbed to COVID-19. Mandera Deputy Governor Mohamed Darai made the announcement on Friday, pleading with residents to follow the prevention guidelines set out by the Ministry of Health.
Early this morning, we lost our brother Ibrahim Barrow Hassan to COVID-19.
In Kiambu County, area leaders are calling for inclusion of all stakeholders to scale up the war against coronavirus, which continues to ravage the country. They were speaking during a request from Muguga Member of County Assembly, Eliud Ngugi.
We have 43 patients in Tigoni. 32 of them are on oxygen. We're going to convene a Zoom with all members of the assembly, including the senator, the women led, my fellow mourners.
Ugonjwa ya corona iko. Na tuchunge kwa sababu nikiangalia mimi nikipiga darubini yangu, mimi nafikiria ugonjwa hii sio kuisha inaisha. Ni kuanza inaanza.
Elsewhere, Kisii County Governor James Ongwae has disclosed that bed capacity and equipment for handling COVID-19 emergencies are still intact. His sentiments comes amid revelations by County Public Health Director Dr. Richard Onkware that the region is experiencing an upsurge of infections.
We do not have a problem with the oxygen because we have our own oxygen purification plant, which has actually a capacity to supply packed oxygen to health for all our health facilities in our county.
And Rift Valley Regional Commissioner George Natembea says a multi-agency team is being formed to enforce containment measures aimed at slowing the spread of the coronavirus, now in its third wave. Natembea, speaking in Nakuru, said he is aware all public service vehicles plying estates and major highways in the region, as well as politicians, are the weakest link in the fight against the spread of the deadly virus.
All those roadblocks are going to be manned by agency teams. Hakutakuwa na police peke yake. We will be getting daily reports every morning kupitia kwa county police commanders kwamba watu walikuwa kwa barabara. You have to have productive roadblocks. Sio magari imepita, umeona imepita na kuna gari imeshikwa.
Ruth Wamboi for Channel 1 News.
While in Kisumu, several people were on Friday arrested following a joint crackdown mounted by the Kisumu County government and national security agencies in enforcement of COVID-19 protocols. Authorities in the county also banned night vigils in a bid to curb the spread of coronavirus. Wycliffe Okech reports.
Traders, commuters, boda and PSV operators were on Friday caught flat-footed after the county government of Kisumu and national security agencies mounted a joint crackdown on individuals flouting COVID-19 prevention protocols in the Lakeside County. Many found themselves on the wrong side of the law and will spend time as guests of the state. The operation followed a press conference where the county leadership lamented the casual attitude among residents regarding observance of prevention protocols.
Inakaa ni kama tumesahau. Tunajua kwamba kuna gari ya matatu, kuna minibus, na kila gari iko na kiwango cha wale watu ambao ni abiria. Wengine kwa hiyo magari hawavai mask.
In the past 4 days, from Monday to Thursday, Kisumu County has recorded a total of 44 positive cases from 850 tests so far carried out. This third wave is obviously more vicious considering the number of patients requiring specialized care like ventilators, respirators, and oxygen supplement, and even the number of victims succumbing to the effects.
Kisumu Governor Professor Anyang' Nyong'o making a passionate appeal to Kenyans to heed calls for personal responsibility in keeping the coronavirus at bay.
To limit the risk of carrying 2 or more people because you don't know who among those is carrying or is affected by COVID-19. We don't want to take the risk.
Nyanza Regional Commissioner Magu Mutindika putting on notice entertainment joints that operate beyond 9 p.m, warning they risk losing their licenses and premises closed indefinitely.
Kama utaki kufuata hii maagizo, tutachukua hatua because hatuwezi tukakaa tunaimba tunaongea. Governor last week alipeana hiyo statement, lakini out of that are they complying? The answer is no.
Among other directives announced include a ban on night vigils and catering services at funerals. Wycliffe Okech, Channel 1 News from Kisumu County.
Let's now switch our gears to other affairs. Suluhu Hassan today took the oath as the new president of Tanzania, promising to re-engineer ties with neighboring countries. In a maiden speech shortly after being sworn in as the 6th president, Suluhu called for unity among Tanzanians, saying it was time to bury differences, forget the past, and move forward as a country.
Mwenyezi Mungu nisaidie.
Friday, 19th March 2021 at around 10 a.m. East African time, Tanzania's soft-spoken Vice President Samia Suluhu was sworn into office as the East African country's first female president.
Nimekula kiapo katika siku ya maombolezo. Kwa ajili hiyo, mtaniwia radhi. Kwa nitaongea kwa uchache na kwa ufupi sana. Niwahakikishie wa hakuna jambo litakaloharibika. Ndugu viongozi na ndugu wananchi, kabla sijamaliza, nitumie fursa hii kuwashukuru viongozi wa mihimili yetu.
In her first speech as president, Suluhu vowed to not only unite Tanzanians but work towards strengthening bilateral relations with other nations of the world.
Huu ni wakati wa kuzika tofauti zetu na kuwa wamoja kama taifa. Ni wakati wa kufarijiana, kuoneshana upendo, udugu wetu, kudumisha amani yetu, kuenzi utu wetu, uzalendo wetu na utanzania wetu.
She said it was not time for blames, urging Tanzanians to forget the past and forge forward.
Si wakati wa kutazama yaliyopita, bali ni wakati wa kutazama yajayo. Si wakati wa kunyosheana vidole, bali ni wakati wa kushikana mikono na kusonga mbele. Ni wakati wa kufutana machozi na kufarijiana ili tuweke nguvu zetu za pamoja kujenga Tanzania mpya ambayo mpendwa wetu Rais Magufuli aliitamani.
Suluhu took the opportunity to pay tribute to the late Magufuli as a visionary leader whose legacy will live on.
Nichukua fursa hii kwa mara nyingine tena kutoa rambirambi zangu za dhati kwa Mama Janet Magufuli, mjane wa hayati Mheshimiwa Rais John Pombe Magufuli, lakini pia Mama Susan Magufuli, mama mzazi wa marehemu Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, watoto na familia, ndugu jamaa na marafiki, kwa kuondokewa na kipenzi chao na mhimili muhimu wa familia. Natambua ukubwa wa ombwe ambalo ameliacha katika familia.
She announced that the late President John Pombe Magufuli will be laid to rest on Thursday next week at his native home of Chato, northwest of Tanzania. Tanzanians will from Saturday have a chance to pay the last respect to Magufuli from Saturday.
Yani siku ya Jumamosi, mwili wa hayati Dr. John Pombe Magufuli utatolewa hospitali ya jeshi Lugalo na kupelekwa katika kanisa la St. Peter pale Oysterbay kwa ibada na baadaye kupelekwa uwanja wa Uhuru kwa kuagwa na viongozi. Tarehe 21 wananchi wa Dar es Salaam wataaga mwili wa hayati Dr. John Pombe Magufuli na baadaye mwili utasafirishwa kuelekea Dodoma. Tarehe 24 ni siku ambayo wanafamilia na wananchi wa Chato na maeneo jirani wataaga mwili wa hayati Dr. John Pombe Magufuli.
Suluhu was sworn in courtesy of the Constitution of Tanzania, which states that the Vice President serves for the remainder of the term of a president who dies in office.
Samia Suluhu Hassan has not only made history as the first female president in Tanzania, but also the first female head of state in the East African Community, EAC. The 61-year-old mother of four was considered loyal to the late President John Pombe Magufuli, but was also not afraid to strike on her own. But who is Samia Suluhu Hassan? Our reporter Ben Chumba looks at her profile.
I'm a superwoman. I'm a superwoman.
Born on 27 January 1960 in a little village in Zanzibar, little did her parents know she would later in life join a short list of women presidents in Africa.
Mimi Samia Suluhu Hassan naapa kwamba nitakuwa mwaminifu kwa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania.
Newly sworn in Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu, affectionately known as Mama Samia, started off as a clerk in the Ministry of Planning and Development immediately after completing secondary school in 1977. In 1986, she graduated from the Institute of Development Management, now known as Nzumbe University, with an advanced diploma in public administration. Later, she attended the University of Manchester in the United Kingdom between 1992 and 1994 and graduated with a postgraduate diploma in economics. Samia kept chasing her dreams, and in 2000, she decided to run for public office and was elected as a special seat member to the Zanzibar House of Representatives and was appointed a minister by President Amani Karume. In 2005, she was re-elected and reappointed as a minister in another portfolio. She did not stop there. In 2010, she sought election to the National Assembly to represent the Makunduchi constituency and won by more than 80% of the vote. The president at the time, Jakaya Kikwete, was impressed by her outstanding performance and appointed her as the Minister of State for Union Affairs. In 2014, Samia was elected as the Vice Chairperson of the Constituent Assembly, tasked with drafting Tanzania's new constitution. There, her calm demeanor and sobriety earned her praises. Her star continued to shine, and in 2015, the late President John Pombe Magufuli picked her as running mate for the general election later in the year.
Kwa hiyo nimeamua tena Mheshimiwa Samia ndiye awe mgombea mwenza katika kipindi cha miaka mitano.
It is the same year she also obtained her master's degree in community economic development via a joint program between Open University of Tanzania and Southern New Hampshire University. Samia Suluhu Hassan is the second Zanzibarian and second Muslim after Ali Hassan Mwinyi to serve as President of the Republic of Tanzania. She is married to Adhifa Meir, a retired agricultural officer. They have 4 children, with one Mwanu Adhifa Meir, currently a member of Zanzibar House of Representatives. Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
and all the best to the first female president in Tanzania and in the East African community. You're tuned in to Channel 1 Weekend this Friday night. Tell us where you're tuned in from. Joshua Munguru Ishmael, you're tuned in from Kisii, Nyatieko, and Stephen Otiwa, you're saying you're watching from Migori. Again, Haron Mumo watching from Machakos County, and we also have from Migori County, Mwalimu Bora. Tell us where you tuned from. Your views are much welcome, especially on the pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic ravaging the country and the world. What do you think could be done differently to stop the spread? At Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News. Use the hashtag Channel 1 Weekend. In other matters, Wiper Movement Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has indicated that the party will forge new alliances in the upcoming general election. Kalonzo saying that dishonesty among the NASA coalition members has prompted the party to look elsewhere. The Wiper Party leader, while lauding the Machakos Senator-elect Agnes Kavindu for her victory in the just concluded by-election, termed the win as an indicator of the will and resolution of the Ukambani region.
While congratulating the Wiper Party candidate Agnes Kavindu Muthama as the new senator-elect for Machakos County, after emerging the winner in Thursday's by-election, Kalonzo used the occasion to drum up support for his newly formed political alliance with ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi, Ford Kenya's Moses Wetangula, and KANU's Gideon Moi. The Wiper leader saying he was bolting out of the NASA coalition surrounded with mistrust ahead of the 2022 general election.
You know, I called it Sacred Alliance. And my friends and I will discuss whether that's an appropriate name or whether we'll adopt another name. Remember, we have also One Kenya movement. We want to, clearly, we can't go to the next election with people who mistrust each other. We can't.
Kalonzo calling on his opponents in the Ukambani region to join him and have one voice.
I will be calling on all the leaders, including Kina Mutua, Kina Governor Kivuda Kibwana. I'll ask my sister Ngilu to bring them together and bring them to me. So no, Namodamba himself. We were ready to discuss with anybody going forward, particularly the unity of purpose. But I want you to know this is a national party.
Leaders accompanying Kavindu to the party secretary to present her certificate say that the win was an indicator of their support for Kalonzo's 2022 presidential bid.
This tells you that the people of Machakos are very clear. And I think that again gives direction on where we want to go, come BBI, come 2022.
Wakuje wajiunge na sisi kama Wiper, tuungane, tushikane vile wale wengine wameshikana. Unaona watu wameanza kushikana na kujiuliza, je, sisi kama jamii tunataka nini?
Kavindu won the seat by a massive margin, garnering 104,352 votes tallied in all 8 constituencies. Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
It's now time for us to take our first commercial break right here at Channel 1 Weekend. We still have much more to come, including how the learners in both primary and secondary schools will be sitting for their examinations, KCSE and KCPE, against the backdrop of these unprecedented times occasioned by COVID-19. Stay tuned for that and more.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Then my mother will start. Julia! Julia, come here. Look at this one. You have been given 4 bananas and your brother ate 2. How many are you remaining with? Then I would answer 4. She would give me poor coffee a single.
Okay, Mr. Tisha, please help me before the GTA Kitasi. Please help me, Mr. Tisha. Where will I get 350,000, Mr. Tisha? Where?
Mama Kinyanjui.
Caroline.
Caroline. Si tuongee kando kidogo,
I don't play such games. I don't need a man in my life.
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC. This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Women
are making great strides in trade, in not just in family, in trade, in many other spheres. And this week we want to explore what are women doing. Okay.
Choose to challenge.
Okay.
So what are you choosing to challenge?
Wow.
I'm choosing to challenge myself in many things which I'll share.
Many of us women, when we are given hard opportunities, the first thing we think is, I don't want to be involved in that. Yeah. I don't see, what am I getting out of that?
There is a cliche that used to say women don't support women. I want to believe, and I've seen it with my 2 eyes, that has changed. That is in the past. So if you ever hear anyone saying that, I choose to challenge. I choose to challenge.
Matches don't come any bigger than the Emirates FA Cup quarterfinals, which will take center stage this weekend, while Manchester United have a mouth-watering trip to the King Power Stadium, where they will face the Leicester City at 8 p.m. Live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Many thanks for staying with us. I'm Purity Museo. Lusemara is our sign language interpreter tonight. And President Uhuru Kenyatta has wished candidates sitting for their Kenya Certificate of Primary Education and the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education success in their forthcoming examinations. In a goodwill message to candidates published in the media, the president said last year presented tremendous challenges that largely disrupted the education sector, but promised that his administration will develop mechanism to enable the young people reach their goals. KCPE exams kicks off on Monday to Thursday next week.
In the goodwill message, the president said during the long break, Kenyan young people showed strong resilience, came together to study despite the disruption caused by the pandemic. He challenges candidates that examinations do not mark the end of life, and that no matter the outcome, they should not give up on their dreams and aspirations. He promised the candidates that his administration will develop mechanisms to enable them reach their goals. He called on those sitting for the exams that as they mark the milestones in their lives, they will ground themselves in values that last, values that include honesty, respect, generosity, hard work, responsibility, patriotism, and service to others. He urged the candidates to keep working hard and make the country proud. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha, who was in Kakamega echoing the president's sentiments, calling on the students to take their exams seriously and fear nothing. Rehearsal for KCPE was done on Friday, and over 2 million candidates are expected to sit for the exams that will end on 24th of this month.
Every child that deserves to do examination must do the examination. There are few unscrupulous teachers in the private schools who I understand did not register children for examinations. We are not going to allow our children to suffer because of a few crooks.
Reporting for KBC Channel 1, I'm Jacinta Nyambura.
Now, many developing countries lack public fertility centers. For countries such as Kenya, which are burdened by high growth rates and poverty, focus is on contraception and other population control programs. Infertility remains invisible to national and regional policies and programs. In the third and final part of the special series on infertility, the silent pandemic, Safina Cheng Oma reveals how the failure to prioritize infertility in the national reproductive health agenda shatters the dreams of many people who cannot bring life into this world through natural ways.
The solitude in the world of women struggling with involuntary childlessness makes it a silent pandemic.
Because of lack of, the ability to sire children, they remain the invisible group of women. They remain the the women that are not counted when we are largely when we are planning and largely developing policies for empowerment and gender equality.
In many developing countries, Kenya included, provision for public fertility centers is not a priority. The debate surrounding infertility care in developing countries has always been that for countries burdened by high growth rates and poverty, focus should be on contraception and other population control programs.
The idea is individualized. It's for the person, the woman or the individual suffering from infertility to seek services. The levels of our awareness still remain low, and I think the other fact is that the access, it's very expensive to seek reproductive health services around infertility.
The narrative is, however, changing thanks to the efforts by leaders such as Suba North Member of Parliament Millie Odhiambo Mabona, a woman who courageously beat the odds of not having a child of her own to become a woman leader in her area and an influential personality in the Kenyan national politics. Having undergone the stigma of being unable to conceive, she knows too well what it means to use her influence to speak for the voiceless. Millie is pushing for the enactment of the Assisted Reproduction Technology Bill of 2019 that seeks to help persons unable to give birth through natural ways.
What it basically does is that when you have people who are not able to have children regularly or normally, then through assisted reproduction, they are able to be assisted to get through.
Her bill, which has already gone through the first reading in the National Assembly, also proposes establishment of an authority to govern in vitro fertilization and surrogacy to address the ethical and legal issues that have emerged concerning these alternative methods of reproduction.
We have had cases where people borrow wombs and they have challenges later, because when somebody carries a baby for 9 months, they become used to the baby and they don't want to let go, and sometimes it is not really even biologically their child. They were only basically assisting. And several cases have gone to the High Court, and the court said that there is no legislative framework to deal with this kind of cases, and urged Parliament to come with a legislative framework to deal with issues of surrogate mothers.
This bill should have been a priority, but the attitudes and the way our Parliament looks at issues of gender is sad. It's sad, and I would want to urge that we prioritize this.
Stakeholders are calling on the government to ensure that health policies are not only inclusive, but make reproductive health care affordable for all women.
When we have a legal framework in place, then we have a place to start from while working on this. So the legal framework should work around reducing stigma for women and girls who are by certain circumstances, medical past history, are unable to have children. Number two is the sensitization that needs to happen at community level for women to be able to access alternative methods of getting children.
And then there are options. Are those options available in Kenya affordably? IVF iko, surrogate motherhood iko, adoption iko. Can you even adopt a child? Watakutafuta mpaka bank account. Rural mama akona bank account ya kusema mimi nitachukua mtoto nilisha. Hata M-Pesa anaangaliwa na mtoto wake na mjukuu wake.
With society remaining unforgiving to a woman who cannot bring life into the world, women like Margaret, Rose and Jane have opted to seek solace in staying spiritually grounded.
As someone who has worn that shoe, I can encourage someone it is God who gives children. But even if you lack, be content and avoid being jealous when you see others with their children. Love them.
It takes a lot of time to get healed from not having a child of your own. But pain is the place where light comes in. Any woman can find her purpose in her pain. God cannot give you a story and a life that He cannot use, and a situation you cannot overcome.
In the kingdom of God, what is destined for you, it will always wait for you until that appropriate time. So don't lose hope. Be focused. If you have the opportunity maybe to interact with one or two women who are undergoing such situations, please tell them that there is hope.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Safin Aching Oma.
The silent pandemic it is, infertility. Thank you so much, Safin, for that report. Elsewhere, Kenya has formally written to the International Court of Justice to inform of its decision not to participate at the Maritime demilitation case with Somalia, which is currently ongoing at the ICJ based at The Hague. Through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kenya insists that the decision is on account of procedural unfairness at the court. Kenya says the decision was made in the best interest to protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the country.
In a letter to Felipe Gatia, the registrar at the ICJ, Kenya said, while it had no doubt about the merits of its case, procedural unfairness had left doubt on whether substantive justice will be done. Kenya restated that it should not have been dragged to the court by Somalia merely because of its neighbors' resurgent expansionist agenda. Kenya also noted that the composition of the membership of the bench conducting the case reinforced concerns of bias, citing the case of Somali citizen Judge Abdul Kawi Yusuf, who sits on the ICJ and who has previously represented Somalia at the 3rd United Nations Conference on the Law of the Sea. Kenya has also informed the court that influential third-party commercial interests are fueling the case that threatens to destabilize the peace and security of an already fragile region, Kenya insisting its preference for negotiation through the African Union Border Program, which encourages states to resolve disputes through bilateral negotiations. In the letter, Kenya revealing that it has provided the court with a comprehensive background to Kenya-Somalia's relations, underscoring Kenya's long-held commitment to peaceful and friendly relations despite Somalia's intransigence and territorial ambitions against Kenya. Kenya claiming that any consideration of this equidistance claim sets a dangerous precedent, as it will not only reward Somalia's belligerent conduct but also has the potential of disturbing already established boundaries. Underscoring its decision not to participate in the hearings, Kenya remained steadfast that this dispute should be withdrawn from the court and resolved through bilateral negotiations. Kenya also expects Somalia to normalize its relations with Kenya following their unprovoked and unjustified decision to sever diplomatic relations with its neighbor. Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
And in the corridors of justice, a former Executive Officer of Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation, Nofatos Munya, and 6 other individuals have been released on bond of between 2 to 3 million shillings after denying 12 counts of graft over 103.3 million shillings solar installation tender scandal. They are accused of colluding with directors of Nav World Limited and North Pride Limited, who were irregularly awarded tenders to install solar systems in primary schools despite not participating in the tender process.
The charge is conspiracy to commit an offense of economic crime contrary to Section 47, subsection A3, as read with Section 48 of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act number 3 of 2003.
Former Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation CEO Nofatos Munya was released on a bond of 3 million shillings with an alternative of 2 million shillings cash bail. James Mureithi, Head of Renewable Energy, Joel Omusembe, Head of Procurement, Simon Kirui, an economist, Abdurrahman Abdullahi and Hassan Mohammed were each released on a 2 million shillings bond with an alternative cash bail of 1 million shillings.
The accused is thus granted a bond of Kenya shillings 3 million, the alternative a cash bail of Kenya shillings 2 million shillings. The rest of the accused are granted a bond of Kenya shillings 2 million, and the alternative a cash bail of Kenya shillings 1 million each. that is 1 million shillings each. They shall deposit their passport with the court. For those in public service, they are not allowed to access their offices. They shall not interfere with witnesses.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission says investigations had shown that Nav World Limited and North Pride Limited did not participate in the tender for the pre-qualification for installation of solar systems to public primary schools in Kenya, but they were awarded tenders. They were charged with willful failure to comply with the law applicable to procurement and conspiracy to commit an offense of economic crime. Investigations unearthed that the officers colluded with directors of Nav World Limited and North Pride Limited to secure tenders that they didn't even apply for, worth 103 million shillings, 391,910. The alleged crimes are said to have been committed between 30th May 2014 and 6th November 2017.
The second problem I have identified, Your Honor.
Elsewhere, prosecution in the 63 billion shillings Arol and Kimwarel multi-purpose dam case against former Treasury Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich have denied that the Director of Public Prosecution visited Italy and South Africa to get more information regarding the case. This emerged on Friday during the pre-trial when the defense demanded to know the information the Director of Public Prosecution had regarding Italian companies involved in the case.
So anyone who wants to investigate Sache doesn't need to go to Italy. Upper Hill is the farthest you need to go.
It was also revealed 52 witnesses had been lined up to testify against the former cabinet secretary. At the same time, prosecution objected an application for the defense to adduce hard copy evidence, claiming it was a risk because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The case will resume on 23rd of April 2021. And a 24-year-old man has been released on a 3,000 shillings cash bail by an Embu court after denying being in possession of 6 rolls of bang with a street value of 300 shillings. Amir Omar shocked the court when he claimed that he only had 1 roll of the narcotic and accused police of planting 6 rolls on him. Chief Magistrate Maxwell Gisheru directed the case be mentioned on the 25th of this month. For Channel 1 News, I'm Ben Troy-Njue.
And youth have been urged to take advantage of government-sponsored training programs to equip themselves with skills that will make them marketable in the competitive job market. Speaking in Mombasa during the graduation ceremony of 300 youths who were undergoing 3-month skills development program, Education Secretary, State Department for Post-Training and Skills, Dr. Wanjiru Kariuki, said the government is committed to improving youth living standards through equipping them with skills for self-reliance.
Sheikh Mohammed and Scoven Muteki are among the beneficiaries of the Youth Skills Program, an offshoot of the Kazi Mtaani Initiative Program. They are confident of conquering the job market by coming up with income-generating projects.
Nimepata skills ambazo zinaweza nisaidia, pia naweza saidia mayuthi wenzangu wakiwa mtaani, kuwasaidia ili nao pia wajue kufanya hiyo operation ya kushona, waweze kujoin kwa hizi generation ili waweze kusaidika maisha yao ya baadaye, wakose kukaa kule bure mitaani na kukata watu mapango shika watu ngeta.
It has really helped me avoid a lot of things and a lot of temptation, and joining the program has really helped me because I acquired skills that I didn't even have. And these skills are going to help me whether I get an employment or I don't get an employment. I can start up my own business, get my capital and set up my own business because I have the skills.
Education Secretary, State Department for Post-Training and Skills, Dr. Wanjiru Kariuki, said the initiative aims at ensuring youth progress from training to earning.
This is a program that is exemplifying the importance of education linking with industry. If education and industry works together, this is the kind of program we are getting, where the youth are trained and then they are employed. So this is what we have done for the Kazi Mtaani program. The rationale was that once the Kazi Mtaani program comes to an end, these youth are going to face unemployment, and therefore they will have negative socio-economic impact. So we came up with a program, and we partnered with Generation Kenya and Mega Couture Industry. where we trained these youth.
The program piloted in Mombasa County and will soon be rolled out in other counties to promote socio-economic empowerment of youths. Reporting for Channel 1 News from Mombasa County, I'm Michael Mwandiga.
Fanya hivi, wewe teremuka tu chini. Hata watu wanangojea, unasema unione? Si ninakuona ndio huyu kucha. Kucha ninakuona.
Yoi.
Nimekuita mara ngapi Kate? This is the Nissan Note.
Hii ndio motoka.
Not that this is the Nissan Note we are giving out.
Na ni rahisi sana kuwekelea bid. Unaenda kwenye lipa na M-Pesa. Unaweka paybill number 4032353. Kisha unakelea account number ya Nissan Note ni Note, N-O-T-E. Namba ambayo unapenda, labda unapenda 100, labda unapenda 200. Wekelea Note 100, Note 200. Alafu tutakuitisha shilingi 40 peke yake, 40 bob only. Weka pin yako, utakuwa umekelea bid ya hii Nissan Note. Inakungoja wewe mahali popote ulipo. Mimi na mtumishi tutakupea.
This weekend on KBC.
Wiki hii kwenye mkulima tutachanganua maharagwe na jinsi ya kuongeza dhamana.
Uzuri wa kuweka kwa maji ni kuwa inalaizisha kupika haraka na inatoa zile anti-nutrients zenye zinakuanga kwa hii maharagwe yenye inafanya watu saa yote wakuwe wanaongea juu ya maharagwe na wapea gasi.
Kisha tupande ama tukuze strawberries za hydroponic kwenye greenhouse.
Tuko na aina nyingi sana za strawberries.
Jiunge nami Frederick Mbadha Jumapili saa 9:30 hapa KBC Channel
1. This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
He did not respect us.
But what did he say?
Oh, look at that. Bianca didn't waste time. When she became a Piemonte, she started moving. Like mother, like daughter.
Do whatever you want. I can't be with a wolf pretending to be a sheep.
Well, something did happen. Let's just say that I did not expect it.
Bruno, could you come to my office right away?
I think we don't need to speak to each other anymore.
No. I forgot to tell you something else. I'll be waiting.
Weekend on KBC Channel 1.
I am making my own creations to help me capture the Smurfs.
Hello!
I call them...
Hello, kitty.
The Naughties. Yeah! Deeply disappointing experiment.
Give me the Smurfette now!
A la carte. I could never be tricked into being one of them.
Here comes trouble!
Oh no! The Smurfs, too.
Let's now have a look at some business news. The tea factory elections are set to kick off, with Murang'a County being the first to conduct the polls. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya says the countrywide elections that will be conducted over 2 months follows the President's executive orders directing government agencies to kickstart reforms in the tea sector as proposed by the New Tea Act.
60 factories in Murang'a County will tomorrow have their annual general meeting to elect new directors in a series of countrywide elections for smallholder farmers' factories. The elections will run up to the end of May this year, with factories in the west of Rift Valley set to start their elections at the tail end of May. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya says the government will provide security to farmers during the AGMs, and the Agriculture Food Authority will oversee the elections.
Law, the memoranda and articles of association, and the executive order, they are empowered under the law of the country to hold their elections. The tea factories belong to them, and the tea farms belong to them. They don't belong to the directors who are sitting in Nairobi. They belong to the farmers of Kenya, who have a right to hold their meetings and elect the people they want to run their companies.
According to the Tea Act, the smallholder farmers' elections are instrumental to the creation of the tea board that will oversee day-to-day operations of the tea sector.
Government is aligned to this executive order that was issued by the president, and therefore we want to confirm that we are busy implementing the executive order.
Munya has faulted KTDA for failing to hold AGMs for their 69 factories as dictated by the law and trying to scuttle the impending elections.
In KTDA's top management saying those meetings are fake. They are not fake. They are properly convened by the shareholders of those factory companies. And we are asking the other companies to follow what Muranga is doing.
This comes barely a week after President Uhuru Kenyatta gave executive orders directing government agencies to enforce the new tea regulations as spelled out in the Tea Act in a bid to streamline operations in the tea sector. Benson Dropa reporting for Channel 1 Business.
The government has launched one-stop business centers to hasten the process of registration and starting of businesses across the country. Dubbed Biashara Centers, the concept is modeled around the Huduma Number initiative and brings together all players in the business and trade sector under one roof to ease the process of starting businesses.
Through the Biashara Centers, all government agencies involved in the process, including Registrar of Companies, Kenya Revenue Authority, Kenya Industrial Estates, Kenya Bureau of Standards, Kenya Industrial Research Development Institute, Micro and Small Enterprises Authority, and Industrial Property Institute will operate under one roof at the Biashara Centers to save budding entrepreneurs time wasted moving from one institution to another. Trade Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina said the initiative aims to increase the number of registered businesses.
All these other agencies who support businesses are all located in the same place so that small businesses don't have to move from office to office. It's actually just from desk to desk to get help.
So far, she said that the centers have been established in Nairobi, Mombasa, Eldoret and Kisumu, adding that more shall be set up to support SMEs across the country.
And we'll continue as we evaluate the usefulness and the use and the interest of these centers. We will continue to roll out more.
Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
All right, moving on. The government has set aside 2 billion shillings to go towards mitigation of drought in the country. Already 5 counties, including Mandera, Wajir, Isiolo, Marsabit and Turkana counties, have begun feeling the effects of drought, even as Kenya scores low on investment in drought resilience and mitigation programs.
The Devolution Ministry says the fight against drought requires increased investment in resilience programs targeting vulnerable communities. CS Omalwa said the government has already set aside 2 billion shillings to tackle the drought which has begun to manifest in counties in the northern parts of the country.
Tumeanza kuona makali ya ukame haswa maeneo ya Mandera, Garissa, kule Wajir, Isiolo hata Turkana, na leo tukizungumzia swala hili tunataka tuone vile serikali zetu zinaweza zikaungana na zile serikali za counties.
The cabinet has also approved the disaster risk management policy that will create a fund to deal with emerging disasters in the country. Wamalwa was speaking at a meeting bringing together 8 countries under the Intergovernmental Authority and Development IGAD. IGAD Executive Secretary Dr. Wakneji Beyehu said climate change was impacting the region's resilience, with 70% of the land area categorized as arid and semi-arid lands. The authority is set to build the resilience of communities to recurrent drought, as well as all similar environmental and social-economic shocks.
Na sisi ndio kati ya mataifa ya kwanza kuweka hazina kama hii kupambana na ukame, na katika hazina hiyo tuko na bilioni 2. Nimeweza kuweka zile regulations na tunaanza sasa kuona vile tutasaidia counties ambazo zimeanza kuathirika na mambo ya ukame.
One country cannot alone defeat these challenges because these are cross-border issues. These are transboundary issues.
For Channel 1 News Business, Amwangari Washuri.
Meanwhile, Kenya Revenue Authority's surveillance efforts to stem out illicit trade in Lake Victoria have received a major boost with a donation of a speedboat by Japan International Cooperation Agency. The vessel, which will be domiciled at Muhuru Bay in Migori County, adds to the fleet of water vessels the authority uses in the mitigating illegal trade around the vast Lake Victoria. Wycliffe Okech with the details from Kisumu County.
The Anti-Counterfeit Agency reports Kenya loses over 100 billion shillings in revenue annually through illicit trade. KRA seeks to nip the vice at the entry points, which include unnamed border points. The launch of the speedboat will boost the Kenya Revenue Authority surveillance efforts.
I'm told, and I've read, that 6% of this lake is on the Kenyan side, but 51% of it is in Tanzania and 43% of it is in Uganda. So we seem to have the smallest portion. But even that smallest portion which we are given, we still have to take care of it, and it has done a lot of good to us, to our people, and to the economy of this county, and to the economy of our country at large.
KRA says the vessel will go a long way in addressing border security challenges.
We do that by trying to prevent the illicit flow. You know, goods which are being traded illicitly, they should not get into our country through this lake.
Of great importance is the collaborative efforts that we are now pursuing together with our other law enforcement agencies to ensure that we work together in a more efficient and seamless manner.
The speedboat, which was donated by Japan International Cooperation Agency in partnership with the United Nations Office for Project Services, was launched at the Kisumu port on Friday and will be based at the Muhuru Bay in Migori County. Wycliffe Okech, Channel 1 Business from Kisumu County.
Let's get some sport. John Lokedi won Kenya another silver medal at the ongoing World Para-Athletics Grand Prix in Tunisia when he finished second in the men's 5,000 meters T13 by 46 class. And Lokedi, however, tops the qualification rankings with 887 points.
John Lokedi won Kenya another silver medal at the ongoing World Para-Athletics Grand Prix in Tunisia, finishing second in the men's 5,000 meters T13 46 class. Samir Noya of Algeria won the race in 14 minutes 59.89 seconds, while Nasrallah Hatem of Tunisia settled for the bronze. 3 athletes did not finish the race. Lokedi, however, tops the qualification rankings with 887 points, with Samir taking second position with 847 points, while Hatem of Tunisia is third 7 points behind. Meanwhile, athletes who will compete in the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games this year have received a 2.4 million shillings boost from National Olympic Committee of Kenya.
We all want maybe to see to it that we prepare ourselves, we prepare our athletes, and any support that we want maybe to give as a National Olympic Committee, we will always give.
Team Kenya is currently in a bubble camp preparing for the games postponed from last year due to the coronavirus pandemic.
And it was another day of lost cause at the second round of the 2021 Magical Kenya Open that is being played at the Par 71 Current Country Club course. For the Kenyan contingent, it was a tough day as the only Samuel Njoroge Chege made the cut to play in the money rounds of the tournament.
Railway Golf Club's Samuel Njoroge Chege is the only Kenyan golfer to make the cut at the end of the second round play at the 2021 Magical Kenya Open that is being played at the Par 71 Current Country Club. Njoroge cutted a round of 3 under par 68 for a tournament total of 2 under par 140, which was the cut-off point for this year's tournament.
The first thing today, I was relaxed than yesterday. It was my second day and I was more relaxed, and I knew the course than yesterday, so I said today I have to play well.
Among the Kenyans who missed the cut were David Wahu and Eric Okobura, who bogeyed the 18th hole to miss the cut by a shot. Australian Hand Scott was the day's joint best performer on 7 under par 64 to go joint top on 11 under par 131. Finland's Carl Samuja had another steady round of 5 under par 66 to go joint top on 11 under par 131. South African Dean Bomester had a round of 7 under par 64 that saw him move 27 places up to joint third. The 77 golfers who made the cut will play over the next 2 days for a share of the €1 million prize money, which is the equivalent of 131 million shillings. The Magical Kenya Open is the 6th of 42 events on this year's European Tour calendar.
The Kenya boxing team hit squad will leave the country tomorrow ahead of the Africa Zone 3 Boxing Championship set to be held from the 20th to 27th of this month in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo. The tournament in DRC will mark the first time Kenyan boxers will be getting into the ring since February 2020.
16 Kenyan boxers, 12 men and 4 women, will compete in the African Zone 3 Championship set to take place from date 20th to 27th of this month in Kinshasa. The Kenyan team has been training for a while and are upbeat about the competition in which their greatest rivals will be boxers from Cameroon, Congo and Morocco.
Tumeweza kuwa na mazoezi mazuri mpaka sasa, hakuna injury, hakuna ugonjwa wowote ambao tumepatikana nayo, so tunaendelea na matayarisho yetu kwa mashindano ya Zone 3 Championship ambayo atakuwa kule Congo, Kinshasa, Congo, kuanzia tarehe 20 hadi tarehe 27.
The tournament in DRC will mark the first time Kenyan boxers are getting into the ring since February last year. The squad has finalized preparation and is expected to leave the country tomorrow.
Kulingana na hiyo mazoezi kidogo nimefanya nao leo, nimefurahia sana, nimeona wako ready. Sparring parts zote nimeona wamecheza vizuri kabisa. Sasa ni hiyo tu tumesema kwa vile itakuwa ni assignment yao ya kwanza, waende wacheze ndio tuone pale ma mistakes zinaweza kuwa na vile tunaweza rekebisha hapa na pale.
Meanwhile, International Olympic Committee Boxing Task Force has confirmed that Kenyan boxers Eli Ajowi and Elizabeth Akinyi have qualified for the Tokyo Olympic Games by virtue of their rankings in heavyweight and welterweight categories respectively. Daniel Mwendwa for Channel 1 Sports.
Bandari head coach Andre Kasa Mbungo is the February Football Kenya Federation Premier League Coach of the Month. Mbungo guided Bandari to 4 wins in as much matches in the month to claim the award ahead of his Bidco United counterpart Anthony Ahulia.
Bandari head coach Andre Kasa Mbungo is February's best coach in the Premier League. Bandari began the month with a 1-0 win over Kariobangi Sharks before humbling AFC Leopards 2-1 at Mbaraki Stadium. The coastal side then thrashed Vihiga United 5-0 before shutting down Ulinzi Stars 2-0 in the final match of the month. Beaten Bidco United's Anthony Ahulia, on the other hand, led his club to 4 wins, but their goal returns were inferior to those of Bandari, who scored 10 and conceded 1. Mbungo becomes the third tactician to be decorated this season after KCB's Serekaya Otieno and Wazito's Francis Kimanzi, who were named as the December and January coaches of the month respectively.
Liverpool have been drawn against Real Madrid in the Champions League quarter-finals, a repeat of the 2018 final, with Chelsea facing Porto and Manchester City taking on Borussia Dortmund. Holders Bayern Munich will face last year's losing finalist PSG in the last 8. Fulham head coach Scott Parker has no fresh injury concerns following last week's defeat by Manchester City ahead of their game against Leeds United tonight at Craven Cottage. And Leeds top scorer Patrick Bamford is expected to be fit despite suffering a hip injury against Chelsea last weekend. The Leeds versus Fulham game is just one of the many matches on card this weekend, which our weekend diary highlights. And that's the end of Channel 1 Weekend this Friday night. It's always a pleasure to have your company. Thank you, William Mamburi. You are tuned in from Watamu. And also on Twitter, Wandago Joseph tuned in from Siaya. And then we also had Runo, who was tuned in from Mombasa County, Chris Kitiku from Machakos County. It's always a great having your company. I'm Purity Museo. Lucy Maura has been our sign language interpreter tonight. Up next is Weather Forecast with Yusuf Farah. Good night and God bless.
Good evening and welcome to Channel 1 Weather Updates. My name is Yusuf Farah. Tonight, a rainfall is expected in parts of the highlands west of the Rift Valley region. Temperatures drop to 11 degrees Celsius in Kericho County, making it the coldest. Tomorrow morning, we'll be waking up to rains accompanied by sunny intervals with partly cloudy conditions in areas of the capital city, Nairobi, Meru and Nyeri. Areas of the northeastern region, chances of rain in the morning, partly cloudy conditions as well. Sunny intervals in the coastal region. Areas of Lodwar will be having sunny intervals as well. In the afternoon, showers accompanied by thunderstorms and partly cloudy conditions in areas of Kisii, Kakamega, Kericho, Narok, Kitale and Eldoret. Areas of the coastal region continue to have sunny intervals. Chances of rain accompanied by sunny intervals in the northeastern region, sunny intervals in the Lake Turkana Basin and areas bordering Kenya and South Sudan. Let's now take a look at the temperatures and Highs of 36, lows of 26 in Mandera, Garissa highs of 38, lows of 25, and Nairobi highs of 27 and lows of 16. That's all we had for you on Channel 1 Weather Focus. Until I see you next time, do have yourselves a lovely night.